Ahoy everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be looking at all of the new features that are included in the Minecraft 1.20 update, and we're going to be putting them in a tier list, as you have to with any new set of stuff on the internet. It's going to be S through D, because there are not a ton of new things being added, although some of them are pretty in-depth, which we'll get to those later. I will primarily be ranking these based on how much they add to building, although there is a fair bit of just the cool factor we factored in. So to get started, we're going to look at the first of the two new wood types added in Minecraft 1.20, that being the bamboo wood. This is crafted using just the stalks of bamboo that you grow in the world. Combine them into a log block, and then you can turn the log block into any of its variants. I am incredibly happy to see that this set includes the slabs and stairs. It includes the full range of block types, because in the past Mojang has had a tendency to leave some of those out. But we're getting the full set in 1.20, and so because of that, I think this is a solid A tier feature. You're going to be a little situational because the colors and textures are a little different from anything else in the game, but I think it might work really well with a more lighter palette, maybe a sandstone or something along those lines. Next up is the Calibrated Skulk. This is going to be incredibly useful for any type of redstone building, because what you can do with this is you can actually detect certain actions. It's like you can detect only a player opening a door but not walking. You can detect breathing or any other activity. So it's not going to be very impactful directly on building, but it's still going to be a pretty great addition. So I'm going to put it right in the middle at B tier for the Calibrated Skulk. After that is the cherry wood, which is coming with its own biome, but I'll get to that over there separately. Looking at just the wood type, this one also has the full set of slabs and stairs and other blocks to go with it, which once again I'm very happy to see. I think that this wood is going to be harder than the bamboo to build with, because the same issue with the bamboo, there's not a whole lot of blocks that are adjacent to it on color gradient wise, and so if you're going to be building with cherry wood, I have the initial impression that you're going to have to really commit to the cherry wood, and so I'm going to put it down here on B tier instead of up on A with the bamboo wood. Following that are the Chiseled Bookshelves, which are going to be added, and these are different from normal bookshelves where you can actually put the books in them. So it's basically a dedicated storage for books, which is really nice. And in addition to that, it also has really interesting side, top, and bottom textures. Similar to how we can use the loom, you can use the other side textures of the loom. I feel like the chiseled bookshelf is going to be really useful in that way. Like I can see this making a really nice parquet floor or ceiling, or maybe even you can use it as a wall texture. Like you have your enchanting room over on this side where you store your books, and then you don't have to worry about having a double thick wall. You can just use the backside of the bookshelves actually for the wall. And so because of all of that, I think this is going to be a great addition to the game. S tier. Next, there is the Decorative Pot, which I've already made a bit of a video on. I am a little disappointed with this actually. We can't put flowers directly in it, as I've been hoping that we would. However, if I get a flower here, you can see that what alternative is you can just put a clay pot directly on top and make a flower pot out of it that way. But I'd been hoping that we might perhaps be able to put the two tall flowers in this, so we have some way of displaying them. It does tie into the Archaeology update, as you can customize the sides of it. But I wish they would have fleshed this out more. I also considered you might be able to make a nice looking pillar out of it. The issue is that this is an entity, and so it will de-render before the rest of other blocks. So you'll end up with just having whatever this pillar is supporting be floating until you get pretty close to it. So because of that, I'm going to say that this is C tier, actually. It's really cool. I like we have a new just block to decorate with, but it is purely a decorative. Let's call it a decorated pot, but it's going to be pretty limited in its uses, I feel like. After that, we have the hanging sign, which is the thing I am most excited for in this update, to be honest. This is such a great thing. It has been in every mod pack since the founding of the game. I'm so happy that it will now finally be in the base game. These come in all of the wood variants, which is also great to see. Although, actually... Oh yeah, no, they do come in the new wood variants as well. That is good. But they just have so many different use cases, and I love that they're conditional. So if you put it on the side of the block, it has a little bar that hangs off to put on the bottom. It has the 2 chains. This is just going to be so great to just flesh out builds. And so because of that, this is also S tier, in my opinion. After that is the Piglin head, which this is tied into one of the new features where if you have a note block and you put a mob head on top of it, you can duplicate that mob's sound, which is very cool. But just the head by itself, it is really detailed, but at the same time, why did we not just have this with all the other mob heads? So this is going to be our first D tier feature for me. Is just it's literally just a bob head, which we should have already had in the game. I'm going to break this so that we stop getting the sound. After the Piglin head, there are the pink petals, which these spawn in the new cherry blossom biome, and they are basically a 3D carpet that you can put down on the ground, and they work like sea pixels. Sea pickles are candles as well, where you can put multiple on the same block to change their texture. So you can get pretty elaborate with these. When I'm really happy just to see more ground cover in the game in general. So I'm going to put this at B. It's a nice decorational block. It doesn't add a whole lot, but the 3D height variated texture is really cool. It adds a good bit of depth and texture to our pathways now, instead of having to just alternate between path and like coarse dirt. Keeping on the theme of the pink petals, there is the first of the 2 new plants that are added in the update, and this is the pitcher plant. These are obtained by growing seeds that the Sniffer digs up for you, and you have to plant them on farmland to grow them up into their full state. And then after that, you can break them to just obtain the flower, which you can then plant like any 2 tall flower. They don't do anything. They just sit there statically like any of the other 2 tall flowers, but at the same time, they're a very unique shape and hue that's not really reflected anywhere else. So I still think it's going to be a fairly good addition to the game. B tier. In the exact same vein as the pitcher plant, the torch flowers are grown using seeds that you find from the Sniffer. The name would lead me to believe that they should emit light. They don't. A little disappointing, but not decorated pot level of disappointing. So these are going to go with their brethren in the B tier. After that is the brush. And I'm going to tie this into the archaeology system in general, This is where, of course, you have suspicious sand that you can take the brush and brush down to find different buried treasure. As you see there, we just didn't find any, but there is a chance that you can find treasure basically in these. The archaeology system in 1.20 seems very shoehorned in. It seems to have been included really only as a conduit for other features, which in and of itself is fine, honestly. Like, everything has to have a way to get it. But the archaeology system seems very flat. And they've been working on it for quite a while. I'm a little disappointed that this is how they ended up resolving it. So archaeology, for me, is solidly a D tier thing. After archaeology is the new music disc that is included in this update. And I just have to say, this is an absolute banger. Absolutely S tier. Absolute banger. There are several videos elsewhere on YouTube that combine Relic with some of the other music discs, and those are also just completely fire. I recommend going and listening to them. S tier. Immediately following the glory of the Relic music disc, there is the new shards and smithing templates. Now I'm going to split these into two parts because there's most of the templates, which are the cosmetic bits, which add trim to your armor. So you can customize your armor now. And then there is a functional template. And so for the armor customization system, it is very amazing. I'm going to also put this in the S tier. You're going to be able to have just so much more personalization, and you're going to be rewarded a lot more now for just going out and exploring the existing structures in the Minecraft world. It's like, I've explored every structure in the game. There's nothing really in them anymore that I feel that I can't get somewhere else, but now each structure is going to have its own unique type of smithing template, which gives its own unique type of armor trim. So now, if you're looking for a specific look, you actually now have another reason to go out and explore the existing content already in the game. So it's a really nice way to freshen up existing things. And with that, there is the Netherite upgrade smithing template. And this is a change to the Netherite upgrade system. So now, in order to upgrade your diamond gear to Netherite, you won't just need a Netherite ingot, you'll also need one of these Netherite smithing templates, which I think is an A tier move. I understand that a lot of people already think Netherite is really hard to get, to which my counterpoint is just get good. Netherite as it stands is not hard to get. And likewise, once you get one of these shards, it still won't be incredibly difficult to get, but I just enjoy that it now has the added layer of complexity that this offers, which I think is a really good addition because Netherite is just incredibly strong. Moving on from that is the first of the two mobs added in the Minecraft 1.20 update, this being the Sniffer. And you have to hatch these from eggs that you dig up in the world. And they grow into this absolutely gargantuan beast who will just walk around your world lazily all day and try to snort the ground. And when he does, he digs up the seeds for either of these two plants. I really do like the block model for the Sniffer. Seems really unique and interesting. Nice passive mob, adds an ambience to the world. Not incredibly useful, like there's no reason to farm him really once you have one and you get the 2 sets of seeds. You're kind of done with him and you can just ignore him and pretend he doesn't exist. But it is a really unique looking mob. I'm overall glad they added this again. So because of that, I'm going to say that the camel is not the camel. The sniffer is B tier. Is sniffer spawning. Now to the actual camel, the second mob that's being added. These can be ridden by 2 players. They have this jump dash ability, which is really cool. The only gripe I have at all about the camel, actually, because they just look absolutely adorable, is that unless you are on a multiplayer server, playing like closely with friends, this mob is useless. It looks cool, it's big and derpy, but unless you have someone to make use of the second passenger slot, you can't replace it with a chest. I think that would have been a really nice alternative. You can have 2 people or 1 person and a chest. But unless you're playing multiplayer, just use a horse. It'll be way faster than the camel. But it is still a very cool mob. It goes next to its brethren in the B tier. Following that up, there is the Cherry Blossom Biome, which is, of course, where you get the cherry wood and the pink petals. And this replaces this has a chance to replace one of the existing biomes in the game, which is why I am going to put this one down here in the C tier. It doesn't have its own generation. The trees and ambience of the biome with all the particles floating around is great, but it's just a reskinned existing biome. It's not adding anything new in and of itself. They could have just had the cherry trees spawn intermittently in normal forests. And so the cherry biome itself is kind of falling into the same spot where archaeology does. It's just a means to an end. So because of that, C tier. Lastly, we have the Trails Ruins, which are buried structures that you can find scattered throughout the world. And what you're meant to do with them is you're meant to excavate them like an archaeology dig site. And they have loads of suspicious sand and gravel and other artifacts and loot that you can collect. The loot is rather subpar, although if you are wanting to make a bunch of decorative pots with actually the textures on the side, these will be great. But like the rest of archaeology, they seem just kind of thrown in. So because of that, I'm going to put them next to Cherry Biome in the C tier. Alright everyone, so this is my tier list of all the features up and coming in the Minecraft 1.20 update. I am sure that I have greatly annoyed someone out there with my rankings. However, this is my opinion, and I prefer my opinion to yours. But thank you all for watching. Please tell me your differing opinion down in the comments below if you have them. But stay safe out there, and I will catch you all next time.